Welcome to the woods. Not in my usual place today. I've tried 3 times to do this, and every time the cats have found out where it is. They're running around, they knock the camera over. So I'm down at the bottom of my garden, and I've locked the dogs on the deck, so they'll probably start barking in a minute. But it's a lovely sunny day, a sunny Sunday afternoon in spring, in the middle of the woods. Difficult to beat. And not a day I really want to sit down and talk about money, but I'm going to have a discussion about parallel systems and how we could set up something different from the system we're constrained under at the moment. Now, I realise it's teaching Granny to suck eggs to tell you how bad the financial system is. Money kind of lost its meaning many years ago. Many years ago. From its first introduction as a tool to ease trade, instead of bartering, to now being a system and an implement of control, and the means by which a very small percentage of people can put pressure on governments and organisations in order to create more power for themselves. It's a system that doesn't benefit us, and yet it's something that consumes so much of our time and energy chasing money. And in reality, none of us really want money. What we want are the goods and services that can be exchanged for it. And I would love to work down to, or back to, or up to a system where we could actually get rid of money. I see no reason at this point in our civilization that it needs to exist. However, before we could jump to that point, I think we need to look at systems we can put in place that do benefit us, that can keep the money we make and create within our group, within our sphere, and not be put out to corporations, companies that dislike us, and are wholly unethical in their practices. And it's not as complicated as it might sound. I'm sure many of you have been to pleasure parks and fairgrounds around the UK. And nowadays it's not money that you exchange with the vendor. It will be tokens or tickets which you purchase upon entry. So you give the man your £50 at the gate and he'll give you 50 tokens. And those tokens are exchanged throughout that pleasure park, throughout that fun fair, for a ride on the bumper cars or a hot dog, for a trip on the Ferris wheel or the roller coaster, or whatever else it is these days. And it's a clever idea, because what they've created there is a financial system that benefits only them. You can't take those tokens, leave the park and spend them anywhere else. So your money is going just to them. And that's kind of what we need to look at setting up for ourselves. A ring-fenced system where the money within it goes back into our businesses and to our people, and not to these globalist organisations. So you need to imagine for a while a circle, and within that circle different individuals and businesses. A young lady selling tea and coffee, another company selling candles, someone selling soaps and shower gels, someone offering web design, someone offering graphic design, a plumber, a mechanic, and hopefully many of these. So all the things you would usually be spending your money on outside should be available within that ring-fenced system. Now, it's quite blatantly obvious that in the early stages not everything will be available within it. But hopefully, as time progresses, nearly all of your requirements should be met within that system. And you could set it up much the same as these pleasure parks, and you could do it pound for token. So £1 buys one token, £100 buys 100 tokens. Now the tokens can only be spent within that ring-fenced community. But there will be times you want to take your money out, and that's not what we want. We don't want people to take their money out and spend it somewhere else. So you need to incentivize people to stay within that group. And a good way of doing that is with the hammer, or not the carrot. So you could say that if you put £100 in, you'd get 100 tokens. But you can only ever take out 95. 5% has to stay within. And you could do this for sellers. So if you're selling something and you sell it for £100, £95 you can take out if you wish, but 5% has to stay in. And if you do it this way, what you'll end up with is an accumulation of wealth within that system that can only be used within that system. And that's powerful. And that influences markets, because people will have a glut of money to spend. And when they've got that, businesses emerge to meet that demand. So if there's a demand for mechanics and people have money to spend, mechanics will appear. And it's something we could look at nationally and locally. So one system, and you could break it down to local areas, to regions. No point me looking at a plumber down in the southwest of England if I'm living in the northeast. So some things will be local, some things will be national. There's no reason today that all products can't be shipped nationally or internationally. But for this discussion, let's talk national. How many people do we know who have their own business, could offer a service, could offer a product locally, nationally? They could be within that ring-fence community. If stuff was available there, I would put my money in, buy the tokens, spend them within that ring fence. The sellers would get their money. Some they can take out, 95%. 5% would stay in, but they could spend that money on products and services that they require from businesses they know from people they trust, thus keeping the money out of the globalist organisations, going back to our own people, and with a system where a proportion is accumulated, thus generating more businesses. It'd be interesting to see the comments on this, because I think as we go forward over the next 10 years, there's going to be a need for parallel institutions. I can't see myself moving forward within the system they've got designed. And unless we start putting things together now, it may very well be too late by the time they implement their new systems. So come back at me in the comments section of this one. It's something I'm really interested in. How could we make it work? It's only a short video, but it's done in the hope that the people that watch this will start thinking, will have ideas. Leave them in the comments. It will start discussion. The other week I put 10 points up. These 10 points didn't come from me, they came from you. In the comments below that video there was another 5, 6 points. So in the coming weeks I will add those to the original 10 and do another video. All of these points are things that you've told me you would like to see. Things that we could do to build a system that works for us. So let's have a little chat. Let's have a discussion. How could we operate a financial system? I've thrown out there one idea, and I'm sure a lot of you will have your own. Good. Let's get talking, people. Let's move towards putting together something better. Something for us. Speak to you soon, you lot. I'm off to enjoy the rest of the sunshine.